on what they were doing. Like did Do Kwon actually think UST was like going to change the world? Did Suzu really think that there was a super cycle? And yeah, was it actually genuine? What's your take on that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's split. Like, I think to more of an extent than people give them credit. Like, they really were
Mhm.
drinking their own Kool-Aid, right? Like Suzu,
Yeah.
I really think that he believed in this super cycle, and he levered up in position for it. Like, he wouldn't have blown up on purpose, like just for the story. He really did. Well, to be fair, there's also like fraud and other factors that went into it. But I
Yeah.
do think he was just like a moon boy like anyone else and just like
Mhm.
went crazy long and the market went against
Mhm.
him. Like there again, there is a universe, right, where like
Mhm.
say the market doesn't get absolutely smashed, and it actually does keep going up, where Suzu is like this unbelievable billionaire, owns like all these products, and no one goes
Mhm.
under. The problem is that it is reckless, right? If you have all these uncollateralized loans and then it goes against you, like
Mhm.
you're losing all of your money, you're losing all of your investors' money, you're creating a gigantic void in the crypto market.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think like I don't think that he was a scammer, and I think well that's not true. I guess because of the actual fraud and the stuff out there now, you're certainly scamming
Yeah.
on one level. I don't think that he was like blowing up on purpose. I think that he really did
Mhm.
believe in the super cycle, and just wanted to
Mhm.
be as positioned for it as possible. I think with Do Kwon, he probably saw both scenarios playing out,
Yeah.
where he's like, there is a chance, right, that this tips over and then it goes to
Mhm.
zero. There's also a chance that this becomes fundamentally one of the most important um, pieces of infrastructure in crypto, where we have
Mhm.
this UST algorithmic stablecoin. Again, right now we have the hindsight bias, didn't work, everyone lost like their life savings, and it was terrible. Um, but I think he really was trying to build the project and like saw the vision of it succeeding. And a lot of really, really smart people also did, right? Like there are people who invested tons of money into Luna who've been in the space for so long. Like Novogratz has a literal Luna tattoo on his shoulder that'll
Yeah.
have for the rest of his life, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't think he did it for like exit liquidity. Like I think people
Mhm.
really do believe in these things. Um, like there's no like secret mastermind chat where like everyone's scheming against you.
No.
It's
Mhm.
just like this is the project, and it got so big. Like that spotlight is probably so intense that you start to lose touch a little bit with like the reality of the situation. So I
Mhm.
think that might have happened, but I don't think either case was like pure evil. Let's nuke everything, right? Like they really did believe in what they were doing. They just now with the benefit of hindsight, they just failed.
Yeah. I think it's like really interesting. For Suzu, like I'm of the mind that, like you, there seems like a lot of dodgy stuff was happening, but I
For
think
sure.
it was for the purpose of just longing like the shit out of the market because they felt that it was like actually the right thing to do. So they genuinely did feel like it was a super cycle. Why wouldn't you long? But I think the thing that confuses me for both cases, like 3AC and Do Kwon. So Greg in the chat, who works for us, actually says like in another universe, Sue is a trillionaire right now, and I think he actually did
Yes.
think that. But the thing that confuses me is they are two or three, obviously, if you include Kyle, like Do Kwon, Suzu, Kyle. All three of them, obviously, very smart people. Like I know they've completely liquidated everything, but they're obviously smart people. Like how long had 3AC been about? Like 10 years or something, or they've been in crypto for a while. I am so confused, and what just doesn't make sense to me is how they could not have seen like the pullback. I don't think you'll rarely ever get a more clear um, like recession, if to say that, because you'd never had the case of the last 2 years where money is like pumping into the economy, super artificial, um, so unique. Everyone was like stuck inside, and then they come back out. They've got a load of money to spend and whatever. Um, there's gonna have to be a pullback from that. It's like an elastic band, you know. If you just completely overextend it, how can they not have seen that? I don't get. And then for Do Kwon, how can he not have understood? I know it's hindsight trading, but he's like the founder. How can he not have understood the like tokenomics and system of his whole project? Which, like, as soon as you depeg, there wasn't even it like by nature, right? It goes to zero. It was like you can basically arb between Luna and UST, so you just keep selling Luna until it's worth nothing, which happened. So I'm so confused on that. I think Do Kwon, I think the intentions might be different. Like Do Kwon, what was he trying to do? I think he was actually trying to make something like amazing. I don't know if he was ever money driven, like FreeAC, obviously, because they're different purposes. But I think it's another thing that, like what we talked about earlier, why are they chasing money so hard when they're like ridiculously rich? So I think it's just a case of it becomes a game. Why do you need to be max long and not hedge anything that you're investing on like they did? Because it's this game of like, let's chase to the highest number. Numbers don't mean anything at that point. Like he's got two £50 million houses. You don't need another house. Like you bought that yacht, which is like a meme, but like you don't need that extra money. And I think someone put a interesting tweet like it seems as if Suzu and Kyle were just trying to legitimately become like the richest people on earth. Like I think that was their intention. Like they probably looked at Elon Musk and CZ, probably Sam, and they're like, "We're going to take that spot. How are we going to do that? We're just going to go all in on something that they genuinely believe was going to happen, which I don't understand. That we were just going to somehow zoom. I know their super cycle wasn't like we won't have any dips, but they didn't see a crash coming, which seems kind of wild to me. Yeah, sorry, I spoke a lot there. Do you have any takes on that?
No, I mean, I think you're spot on, right? And like obviously
Yeah.
that turned out to actually be the scenario. And now we have meme content for days, but like people lost so much money because of the actions of like a couple people here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll kind of go in reverse order, I guess, because that's the one that I
Yeah.
remember it in. For Do Kwon, like um, I do think he kind of just got fascinated with his own vision and saw how
Mhm.
well it was doing, and like number basically went up in a straight line for like months
Mhm.
on end. Um, I think he understood that the depegging and like those were always the things that people were calling him out on. Those would be the his
Yeah.
replies would be like super some egotistical
Yeah.
like you don't get it, like you're an idiot, like basically just calling people out. Um, but I did, like I said, like I think there is a universe where it actually does work. Macro went against at the same time, like a couple things lined up and absolutely blew him up. Um, yeah, I think on that front, like it was just a founder fascinated by his own project. Maybe once it actually started unraveling, then like I can't speak to his actions then, but I think the growth of it was really just based around that. For
Mhm.
Sue and Kyle, I certainly agree with your take there, right? Like it's crypto,
Mhm.
like not positioning for any pullbacks is.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, right? Like think like it's hard to kind of put yourself in the mental space, but like think about how we were thinking in November. Um, like the entire thesis around all of crypto and like Bitcoin in general is like you get this moment where there's an inflection point and it's like hyper Bitcoinization, and it's like now this is the standard, right? Like if that happens, Bitcoin legit goes to like $1 million, right? They're like, or even the dollar isn't even worth anything. Um, so my take is that Sue and Kyle believed in that version of the future where there was going to be this inflection point and basically crypto would become this ultra massive black hole that eats everything and like prices go to the moon and like all the networks that matter run on crypto. Um, and they just wanted to have a ton of control over those networks and basically profit an egregious amount. I think that they thought this cycle was going to be that inflection point, like then call it the super cycle, right? But like that inflection point is something that a lot of people still think will happen. Like I'm not sure if it will. I hope it does. Um, but like that point where crypto does become like it gets so much gravity and people come in. Um, I think they just thought that was going to be this cycle, and they positioned for it.